Good morning, boys and girls. Today, the first story I'm going to read is another old-fashioned one. It was written long ago by a man named Robert McCluskey, and it's called Blueberries for Sal. One day, little Sal went with her mother to Blueberry Hill to pick blueberries. Little Sal brought along her small tin pail, and her mother brought her large tin pail to put berries in. "We will take our berries home and can them," said her mother, "and then we will have food for the winter." Little Sal picked 3 berries and dropped them in her little tin pail. Kaplunk, kaplunk, kaplunk. She picked 3 more berries and ate them. Then she picked more berries and dropped 1 in the pail. Kaplunk. And then she ate the rest. Then little Sal ate all 4 blueberries out of her pail. Her mother walked slowly through the bushes, picking blueberries as she went and putting them in her pail. Little Sal struggled along behind, picking blueberries and eating every single one. Little Sal hurried ahead and dropped a blueberry in her mother's pail. It didn't sound kaplink because the bottom of the pail was already covered with blueberries. She reached down inside to get her berry back. Though she really didn't mean to, she pulled out a large handful because there were so many blueberries right up close to the one that she had put in. Her mother stopped picking and said, "Now, Sal, if you run along and pick your own berries. Mother wants to take her berries home and can them for next winter." Her mother went back to her picking, but little Sal, because her feet were tired of standing and walking, sat down in the middle of a large clump of bushes and ate blueberries. On the other side of Blueberry Hill, Little Bear came with his mother to eat blueberries. "Little Bear," she said, "eat lots of berries and grow big and fat. We must store up food for the long winter ahead." Little Bear followed behind his mother as she walked slowly through the bushes, eating berries. Little Bear stopped now and then to eat berries, and then he had to hustle along to catch up. Because his feet were tired of hustling, he picked out a large clump of bushes and sat right down in the middle and ate blueberries. Over on the other side of the hill, little Sal ate all of the blueberries she could reach from where she was sitting, and then she started out to find her mother. She heard a noise from around a rock and thought, "That is my mother walking along." But it was a mother crow and her children, and they stopped eating berries and flew away, saying, "Caw, caw, caw." And then she heard another noise in the bushes and thought, "That is surely my mother, and I will go that way." But it was Little Bear's mother instead. She was tramping along, eating berries, and thinking about storing up food for the winter. Little Sal just tramped right along behind. By this time, Little Bear had eaten all the berries he could reach without moving from his clump of bushes, and then he hustled off to catch up with his mother. He hunted and hunted, but his mother was nowhere to be seen. He heard a noise from over a stump and thought, "That is my mother walking along." But it was a mother partridge and her children. They stopped eating berries and hurried away. Then he heard a noise in the bushes and thought, "That surely is my mother. I will hustle that way." But it was little Sal's mother instead. She was walking along, picking berries, and thinking about canning them for next winter. Little Bear hustled right along behind her. Little Bear and little Sal's mother, and little Sal and Little Bear's mother were all mixed up with each other among the blueberries on Blueberry Hill. Little Bear's mother heard Sal walking along behind and thought it was Little Bear, and she said, "Little Bear, munch, 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 eat all you can possibly hold. Swallow." Little Bear said nothing. She picked 3 berries and dropped them, kaplink, kaplank, kaplunk, in her small, tiny tin pail. Little Bear's mother turned around to see what on earth could make a noise like kaplunk. "Grumph!" she cried, choking on a mouthful of berries. "This is not my child. Where is Little Bear?" She took one good look and backed away. She was old enough to be shy of people, even a very small person like little Sal. And then she turned around and walked off very fast to hunt for Little Bear. Little Sal's mother heard Little Bear tramping along behind and thought it was little Sal. She kept right on picking and thinking about canning blueberries for next winter. Little Bear padded up and peeked into her pail. Of course, he only wanted to taste a few of what was inside, but there were so many, and they were so close together that he tasted a tremendous mouthful by mistake. "Now, Sal," said Little Sal's mother without turning around, "you run along and pick your own berries. Mother wants to can these for next winter." Little Bear tasted another tremendous mouthful and almost spilled the entire pail of blueberries. Little Sal's mother turned around and gasped, "My goodness, you are not Little Sal. Where, oh, where's my child?" Little Bear just sat munching and swallowing and licking his lips. Little Sal's mother backed away. She was old enough to be shy of bears, even very small bears like Little Bear. Then she turned and walked quickly away to look for Little Sal. She knew she hadn't gone very far before she heard a kaplink, kaplunk, kaplank. She knew just what made that kind of noise. Little Bear's mother had not hunted very long before she heard a rustling sound that stopped now and then to munch and swallow, and she knew what just made that kind of noise. Little Bear and his mother went home down one side of Blueberry Hill, eating blueberries all the way and full of food stored up for the next winter. And little Sal and her mother went down the other side of Blueberry Hill, picking berries all the time, and drove home with food to can for the next winter. A whole pail of blueberries and 3 more besides. The end. You can get quite confused if you're a Little Bear and a Little Sal, right? Okay. The next story is Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Undred and Guy Parker Reese. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees, but when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Oh, look at him, he fell. Now every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad, because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor, but the lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald," all the animals sneered. Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird." Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. "They're right," he thought. "I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot." So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. "The moon can be so beautiful," he whispered with a sigh. "Excuse me," coughed a cricket who'd seen Gerald earlier on, "but sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music, if you really want it to." With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was swaying gently, and his tail was swishing around. He threw his legs out sideways and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leaped in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful, his mouth was wide open. "I am dancing, yes, I'm dancing, I am dancing," Gerald cried. Then, one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived, while Gerald boogied on, and they watched him, quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen." "How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head above and looked up at the moon and the stars above. "We all can dance," he said, "when we find music that we love." That is a great story. Well, that's all for today, boys and girls, and I will see you the next time. Have a good day. Have fun.